Hey viewers, a few months ago, my nephew Avery started posting videos to YouTube and asked me for some advice about video equipment. Hey Avery, how's it going?
Oh, it's going really well. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm fine. It's nice to be able to chat with you. How are you feeling about your YouTube progress? Is everything proceeding on plan at this point?
Well, I don't know if there was too much of a plan, but I think things are going really well. I'm having a fun time making videos. I try to do 2 a week, juggling, the full-time job and doing other stuff. It is a little bit much, but it's quite fun, and it's good to get people interacting in the comments and answering questions for them. And it seems like some people are enjoying what I'm talking about, so it seems to be going pretty well, I think.
Ah, that's great news. So just so my viewers know what your channel's about, give us your elevator pitch. What's your channel's story?
Yeah, sure. So I'm all about personal finance and real estate investing. It's something that I picked up right after I finished school. Just started reading books and getting really interested in my own personal budget. So I took onto YouTube to start teaching others about those same topics and some of the things that I'm doing in my daily life, and more going along the lines of documenting what I'm doing and trying to teach the same thing to others rather than creating and procuring content that I hope others would find interesting.
So I've noticed that you do a lot of research before you invest in property. What research did you do before you started your YouTube channel?
Well, actually my YouTube channel did start off as a do-it-yourself channel, and before that I did essentially no research. I just used my phone and recorded some of the home renovation projects that I was doing. And after that I realized that I wanted to pivot and talk more about the business side of all of that and the personal finance. And I realized when I actually wanted to do YouTube and go all in, I wanted to do it well. I wanted, to have a channel like yours, be a little bit successful, have some fun with it. And so I decided to look all about gear. And I think gear is an important factor. You talk a lot about gear on your channel, and so I had a lot of questions for you, and that's where a lot of the research came in, as well as just figuring out what worked on YouTube and what didn't. So I spent a lot of my time watching creators in my space, seeing what videos they were making, what were popular topics, what things people were interested in, as well as watching a lot of how to YouTube YouTubers, just basics like making sure you're looking at the camera and not at yourself when you're recording. And all of those things are really helpful, and I still watch a lot of those videos today, just to tweak and get a little bit better and be more comfortable on camera.
Right. So it's a continued learning process, but how are you doing with the equipment that you purchased? What was the learning curve like for cameras and audio?
Well, I think it was a pretty steep learning curve. I think I'm doing okay. I don't know, maybe we can find out once the recording of this is done and how I'm doing. If I'm looking the right way, right or left, I think I'm doing okay. But I think the lighting was quite helpful. I really liked your suggestions for that. And it seems to make a big difference. People always comment how good my skin looks, and if you turn off the lights, I'm not sure if it would be the same.
No, you should.
Sorry, go ahead.
You should do a makeup channel. You should do skin tips.
Yeah, I guess I
hear
could
that's
do
very
that.
popular.
Yes, there's a lot of those makeup artists
that.
out there. Oh yeah, definitely. And I was just going to say, I think that the lighting's made a big difference, and then the camera equipment. I really didn't know what I wanted to get. There were some other creators in my space that had their gear in their description, and I kind of based it off that and told you a little bit about it, but I think you gave me a great overview of what I should get. And to be honest, before I was looking at a camera and speaking to you, I didn't even realize there was a difference between a camera body and a lens. So I've learned at least a little bit there, but more or less my understanding of the camera is hit the little red button and just start talking.
Right. And did you have any experience with video editing or creating graphics? Like, what other skills were part of your development?
I had very little skills with it. I had done some basic iMovie and edits like that for maybe a school project, but it was always quite choppy. I'm not so much the artistic type, so I had to learn a little bit more about that, even just how to put simple text on the screen. So those were some other type of videos that I was watching on YouTube to get a little bit better at the editing. And you know, as you go along, you get a little bit better at it. And then I also try to just add some more entertaining B-roll. So I have since gotten a gimbal where I can take some fun shots of me doing various activities like working out or throwing money in the air, or you know, whatever it may be, fun stuff like that. That's a little bit easier than some of the technical stuff that you might be doing. I know you have that really cool background TV screen that changes all the time. That's very cool, and I think well above my pay grade and understanding of editing.
I feel everything I do is pretty straightforward. Have you identified any future purchases? What gear do you think you need to improve your channel or take it to the next step?
Yeah, so I have the one lens that is pretty straight on, and then I did purchase a wide angle lens, which was helpful for some of the real estate shots. So I like doing some B-roll of, you know, a kitchen renovation or a bathroom renovation. So having the wide angle lens was helpful. And I did recently purchase a wireless mic, so I could do some more house tours type things. I had the wired one before, which is also quite useful. And I did get that gimbal recently, but beyond that, I haven't thought too much about it. I think I've watched a lot of other creators who have a lot of interesting cinematic experiences. Seems more like a Netflix film and less so of a YouTube video, and they have some cool things going on with more interesting lenses. So if I wanted to have more interesting B-roll, I think I would look more into seeing what kind of lenses that I could get into to get a variety of different shots for that kind of stuff.
Right. So do you have any questions for me?
Well, I guess an important question for you, is trying to figure out, you know, what do the buttons on my camera actually do? I know how to turn it on, but, you know, the frames per second and really anything else, I don't even know what any of that means. I know the lighting. You told me to turn it to a certain Kelvin. I believe it was 4600. I hope that's right.
Sure.
But other than that, there's not too much I know. And I watch your channel, and it does get a little specific for me sometimes. And sometimes I want to go mess around with the camera, but other times I think if I do that, maybe I'll screw it all up and I can't make any more videos. So. Right.
But I mean, I think that you're doing a great job. I agree. You know, the look of your videos is very good. I think you're really starting to master the craft of editing and graphics. Your content certainly is punchy. I like the additional B-roll that you've added. I think it's coming along well. Have you done all of this by yourself, or have you had to pay freelancers or someone else to do specific tasks for your channel, like create graphics or, I don't know, music?
Right, so as far as all of the music and the B-roll and those kind of graphics, I'm creating them myself. I usually use a website, Canva, that has a lot of good graphics, as well as the ability to put the text on the screen. And then for the music, I always try to find a YouTube creator that does the beats that you're allowed to use that you don't have to pay for, but you just give them credit. And so that's kind of where I'm going off of that right now. And I just have the basic iMovie, but since day one, my girlfriend Mia has been very helpful with making all of my thumbnails. I don't think they'd be very good if I did them myself.
Right. So yeah, there are always tasks that are slightly outside of either my comfort zone or my capability. I'm looking to friends or freelancers that I might pay, it turns out to be nominal sums to help me out. Now, you've been doing it for a while. Is it starting to feel like this is something that's sustainable? Like, what are your goals for the next 6 to 12 months? Can you keep doing this?
I think I think that's a good question. Sustainable is a very good way to word it. I think YouTube is difficult. Like I said at the beginning, I do enjoy the teaching aspect, and sometimes people reach out to me on other social media platforms saying my videos are really helpful and sometimes even life-changing, which is super cool and inspiring to hear. But making the videos every week and editing and doing all of those things is a bit difficult. I think I've given myself about a 6-month time frame of where it depends on how large the channel is and kind of what the engagement is like, of if I want to continue doing this amount of videos or if maybe I'll scale back. And the other option would be scaling up and having someone else edit them for me. I think the editing is the biggest pain point for me right now. If that was off the table, right, I would make 3 or 4 videos a week, no problem.
Right. So are you using your channel just as its own entity, or are you using it to promote your other activities? Like, does it have its own P&L, or is this part of a larger set of activities that you're involved in?
So the only other real thing, I do have a bit of a website, and in terms of freelancing and paying other people to do stuff, I did just reach out to someone on Fiverr today to get them to revamp my website. Like I said, I'm not very artistic. It's not super aesthetically pleasing, but I have services for coaching on there. And so I was hoping to drive some of the YouTube traffic that way. And that's kind of the whole umbrella, would still just be about the YouTube and the personal finance and creating some blog posts that maybe help drive traffic the other way back to YouTube. And that would be really the main thing of it. I think there's an awesome opportunity in today's age to build your brand and just kind of build your credibility in whatever space you're interested in. So that's really what I'm going for.
And how is the just channel on its own? How's the revenue? Do you have a plan to increase those sources, like affiliate sales, merch, Patreon, paid posts? What kind of other revenue things would you consider as suitable for your channel?
Right, yeah, so I think it was about May I started getting the ad revenue, which I've learned that it is the smallest amount typically that most creators get. And I know we talked about this at the very beginning when I was starting my channel. If you're just in it for the money, it's probably not the right thing to do. And you know, the money is cool sometimes. It's not like a significant amount. It's a few bucks here and there every single day for the ad revenue. And I've started to get a number of inquiries for people reaching out to do sponsored videos or things like that. But I'm trying to be picky about whose videos and who I'm actually sponsoring and putting out sponsored videos for, because you don't want to just sell out and talk about any product. You want it actually to be valuable for your audience. But I do also have a Patreon that's a little bit smaller, and something that I'm trying to talk about at least once in every single one of my videos to make a little bit bigger. But right now it's just that ad revenue, reaching out to other people that I could do affiliate marketing for, and really sifting through those emails that I'm getting about potential sponsors for the channel.
Right. So just finally, any tips for aspiring YouTube creators? What's your best advice here?
Yeah, I think my best advice, and something that seemed to work well for me, but I guess it's almost backfired, was making the 2 videos a week. I think was really helpful, because I remember watching one video where someone said the average to get to 1,000 subscribers, which is when you start getting the revenue as well as the 4,000 watch hours for the last 365 days, was around 56 videos. And you know, simple math, if I can do 2 videos a week, I can get there twice as fast.
Right.
So I figured that was a good thing to do, but now I feel like since I do that, I have to keep doing it. So it's a little bit back and forth on that, but I think that was quite helpful, as well as just researching what other creators were doing in my space. There are a lot of videos that many people make that are popular uploads and popular topics, and if you can make that video and put your own spin on it, and people will like you doing it versus someone else. So I think that was a good way too to gain a little bit of traction.
Right. Well, thanks for finding the time to chat today. Now, my viewers know that I will answer their civil comments and relevant questions, and maybe you could drop in and check and post a few relevant replies too.
Yeah, I'm happy to always be over on your channel. It's fun listening to you, and I know you've done some of these videos before with Paul, I believe it is, and you guys have a little bit better banter, but it was fun chatting with you, and always good to connect.
Thanks for joining us today. Stay safe.